Good afternoon, everyone. All plugged in. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and today's awesome mind body practice is going to continue focusing on finding stretches for our lower half, the hips, the quads, the ankles, and the calves particularly. We're going to start out today in child's pose. You have 3 minutes till class officially starts, so go ahead, set up your space. I do encourage you have at least one block nearby today for some of the quad stretches we're going to do towards the end. Yeah, grab some water, put on some relaxing music if you want to, and I'll see you on your mat testing out a new lighting option today. We'll see how it turns out. Whew. Oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. It feels like March. It feels like March 5.0. Just keeps going. See, why can't it be that bright when I sit down? Oh joy. Do you like how I have a giant box in the window behind me? I cut it open. Kind of thought it might look better than a towel. Many pardons as they are destroying the tennis courts behind me. And it's kind of loud. Oh, Sandy, you need some peanuts. Okay, so in 1 minute, we're going to get started at the back of our mats in child's pose. Your choice which version of child's pose you'd like to come into today. Maybe you want to bring those legs together and stretch your hips back. Maybe it feels a little bit more comfortable to open your knees. Find whatever feels good for you. Clear your mind, clear your mat, and go ahead, come on down. We're going to stay here for a couple minutes to start class, to just really start to come into our breath. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your head lower than your heart, if you really feel everything draining up into your forehead, think about bringing a block into your practice to begin with. If you have one nearby, just relaxing your head on that block. Think about using your inhale to send your hips a little closer towards your heels, and your exhale to stretch a little bit more through your fingers. Just being active here. Slowing your breath down. If this feels uncomfortable in your shoulders, to have your shoulders all the way forward, you can always bend your elbows as much as you need to be supported. Work to create some space of those shoulders seating down your back. Even if you have your arms forward, you can still work to engage your shoulders, to work to pull them down that lower back a little bit more, getting into the lats. By starting off class with our head below heart's level, it just helps us to already bring our heart rate down, really promotes the feeling of relaxation in addition to the breath. take 3 more slow ones right here. And on that next exhale, gently begin to move your body. Start to come on up into tabletop. Getting your hands palms underneath of your chest and shoulders and your hips stacked on top of the knees the best that you can. Get the tops of your feet flat on the floor for now. Really press into your hands palms so that your arms are engaged. You're not jamming your elbows back, but they're almost locked. And then look down at your hands and just get your hands to be parallel. So if you're using a mat, lining up either your ring finger or your middle finger with the line of your mat. Doesn't have to be touching it though. And then open those fingers nice and wide like a starfish. Start to even press into the pads of your fingers, just finding that engagement in your hands. And gently draw your belly in towards your spine to find some abdominal engagement. So even when we come on down into cow during cat-cow, which is coming up next, I want you to still keep this belly engaged and really just work to find the movement in your spine as opposed to just dumping your belly out and allowing your belly to hang down towards the floor. All right, so starting off nice and neutral, coming back into that tabletop in case you came out, hands, palms pressed into the floor, back is flat, knees are engaged with your mat, belly tight, take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, press into those hands, palms a little bit more, keep those arms straight. Look down towards your mat, maybe towards your knees, coming up into cat. Take a big inhale up here. And slowly move on the exhale all the way through till cow. Take the time to get into your deepest cow as your breath ends. And then one more big inhale here. And exhale. As you're finishing your breath, you find yourself in your deepest point of cat. So you're not moving quickly through this one. You don't suddenly find yourself in cat and there's so much more breath that you can be exhaling. Ooh, explore really keeping your chest and shoulders, oh my gosh, on top of those hands, palms. We already did a little bit of child's pose today, so we already got a little bit of that stretch into that lower back. Explore maybe a little more stretch in your upper back. Feel free to wag your tail as we get into each posture, starting to wake up those obliques. Let's go ahead and do one more in each direction. And when you're finished with that last one, come on back into neutral tabletop. Go ahead, sit yourself back for a minute, shake your wrist out. Option while you shake your wrist out to come into a big toe stretch. So just walking those toes in, you might even want to use your hand behind you to help get that pinky in line. And if it feels good for you, applying some pressure of your hips right on top of those heels. For some people, this stretch is very intense. You might find you want a little bit of a toe stretch. You can always just kind of lean forward. Oh my God, it is darker than dark in here. I can't even. Thanks for bearing with me, y'all. Welcome to my dungeon. Okay, let's come on back into our tabletop. Give yourself a little space because we're going to extend our legs behind us. Once again, press into your hands, palms, line up your hands. Open those fingers, engage those arms so that your upper body is working. You're really working to seat those shoulder blades. Keep your left knee down on the floor and go ahead, extend your right leg out behind you. Press the ball of the foot into the floor and then just gently rock a little bit forward and back, just kind of waking that calf up, maybe waking the wrists up a little bit more as well. If this is uncomfortable in your wrist, you can always bring your fist to the floor for a little bit more support. All right, and we're just gonna hang out in a calf stretch right here. So go ahead, stretch your heel back behind you, squeeze through your glute. Keep that belly pulled in, draw those shoulders down and back. Keep breathing. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale. Great, lift that right leg up. Cross it over the left side of your body. Bring it back down to the floor. Notice if your chest sank down towards your mat. Press into those hands, palms once more. And then look over your left shoulder and see if you can see your right foot. Keep pressing that left knee into the floor, maybe even engaging through your glutes if it feels good. Just activating that lower body as much as you can, finding the stretch that works for you. On your next inhale, go ahead, look forward. Lift that leg up. Bring it back down. What were we doing next? Yeah. No, great. We're coming into down dog next. You're so welcome. So keep those hands, palms pressed into the floor. Extend your left leg back to meet with your right and send those hips up towards the ceiling. Take a really big bend in the knees. Maybe even shorten your step to get that big bend in your knees right here so that you can really work to pedal your heels towards the floor and find that stretch in your calves. Work at the pace that feels good for you. Find the depth that feels good for you. Taking this generous bend of your knees, shortening your step makes it easier to bring your belly towards your thighs and to still find that big lift of your hips up towards the ceiling and bringing those biceps by your ears. Oh, I knew I forgot something. Okay, we're going to bring ourselves back forward one more time. Bring that left knee down towards the floor and bring your right leg forward. I guess I could have had you do that from up and down dog. You know what? That would have been fun. Sorry. Okay. Awesome. We're just going to come into a little bit of a hip opener right here. Bringing those hips forward. If you want to, you can still find a little bit of a rocking back and forth. Do your best to stack that knee on top of your ankle. And as you extend forward, you're finding a stretch in your right hip, and you're also getting a little bit of a stretch in that left quad. If it feels good for you, you can use your prop right here, because we're going to come into a nice twist. If it's easier, you can bring your hand down on the floor. It's just going to increase the twist. So find what works for your body today. We've got our left hand down on the floor. Take a big inhale and send your right arm up towards the ceiling. Really work to send it up towards the ceiling and even pull back just a little bit. Look up for a moment at your fingers. What's happening? Are they all spread apart? Can you bring all 5 of your fingers next to each other? Find a squeeze, a contraction in your left glute. As you continue to push forward, take 3 more breaths right here. I know it's a big stretch. Keep actively reaching up towards the ceiling and back with those fingertips, really opening in that chest. 1 more big inhale. And on your exhale, rain your hands back down towards the floor. Go ahead, untuck your left leg. Let's come into 1 more with that left leg lifted. Inhale, reach up. One more big inhale. Bring your right hand back down towards the floor. Send your right leg back to meet with the left. Hips up towards your heels. Once again, take a moment, just pedal those heels. And then exhale, release yourself back down to the floor into tabletop. Bring your hands, palms back underneath of your shoulders. Press into those hands, palms, line your fingers up, engage your knees into the floor, engage your glutes and your belly, and let's do the same thing with the opposite side. So this time, left leg is going to extend behind us. Take just a moment, rocking back and forth, starting to warm up The calf still pressing into your hands, palms. Big engagement of that back. Feels good to press into my hands and bring my shoulders forward towards my fingertips. Oh, we're gonna get that nice big twist after this calf stretch. So go ahead, extend through your heel of your left foot, squeeze that glute, press into your hands, palms, nice flat back as you can. Keep your head in line as well. So eyes down on the floor, about 6 inches in front of your fingers. Nice. On your next big inhale, lift that left leg up, cross it over the right side of your body. And then with your breath, turn and twist, look over your right shoulder for your left heel. Oh, so many good stretches. You can focus a little bit more on this spine twist by pushing into your left hand and drawing that shoulder back. You can really work on contracting your right glute to find a nice stretch through that glute med. Go ahead, turn your head back to center. Take a deep inhale, send that right leg up and then forward. This is how I envisioned it. All right, go ahead, lift yourself up. We're just gonna, oh my gosh, gently rock back and forth for a moment. You can have your hands on your hips for a little bit of support. Just starting to get a little bit more into the quad, into the hip flexor. Oof. Feeling some tightness in this side, which looks to y'all like it's all right. It's really my left. Yep. So just that reminder that every side of our body is different, every day is different. Doing this stretch at different times of the day, your body's going to react differently. So just enjoy whatever it is that you can bring to practice right now. All right, let's go ahead and release ourselves back down towards the floor. We're gonna find our supported twist here. Option to bring that block into play. The lower that you are towards the floor, obviously the more that you're gonna feel the stretch. So you can have the block on the short side, you can have the block on the long side, whatever feels good for you. Plant that left hand down on the floor and stretch open your, right hand. Stretch your left hand up towards the ceiling. All right, so really stretch up. Do your best to open your chest and shoulders. Imagine that there's a wall behind you and you're really trying to bring that left shoulder, the tip of your shoulder, to touch the wall, to find a little bit more opening in your twist. Really reach up towards the ceiling and keep bringing the weight forward. Last 2 breaths. On your exhale, bring your hand back down towards the floor. Take your time, tuck your toe under, right toe under, and lift up that right knee. Shift the weight forward once more. Plant your right hand on the floor. Send your left hand up for just 2 breaths. Keep the weight forward. One more deep inhale. On your exhale, plant your left hand down on the floor. Go ahead, get your leg back, coming back into our down dog. Shorten your step. Bend those knees very generously. Press into your hands, palms, bringing biceps by your ears, and then pedal through your heels to do your best to get that heel a little closer towards the floor to get some nice stretches in those calves once again. Yay! Okay, take your time. We're going to walk ourselves up. Walk your hands to your feet. Walk your feet to your hands. Take a moment when you get there. Keep that big bend in your knees. It's going to fix the tank top. But you don't have to worry about adjusting your clothing. Just be in the moment. All right, enjoy this big dangle here. Find that opening of your upper body and shoulders. If the floor feels really far away, you can always use your block to relax your hands on the block, or grab hold of your opposite elbows. If you can
touch your elbows down towards the floor while standing here, please send me a photo. Okay, take an extra moment here to really relax your head, so tuck that chin a little more towards your chest. Oh, take the wrinkles out of your neck. And from here, you're just going to lock one knee or engage one quad, and then release, and then engage the other. So it's like bending and straightening one leg. While you're here, you can shake your head yes. You can shake your head no. And then both feet firmly planted on the floor. Keep that bending your knees. Slowly, gently roll yourself up. One vertebrae at a time. Inhale. Bring those arms up overhead. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. All right, coming up towards the top of the mat, take a deep inhale, bring those arms up overhead. Step your right foot back and bring that right foot to a 45-degree angle. We're working to keep that heel on the floor. Bend your left knee as we come into Warrior One. If you need to come into Crescent Warrior and pick that heel up off of the floor, that's okay. What was I doing here? Awesome. That's it. Let's actually take just 2 more breaths right here. Do your best while we're here to press through that back heel and to bring your left hip in line with the top of the mat. Make sure there's still some sort of a bend in your left knee. Take a deep inhale. And on your exhale, shorten your stance. Shortening that stance. Take a moment, relax your arms down by your side. Interlace your fingers behind your back. You should still have your back foot at a 45-degree angle. And to help you slightly with balance, take a little separation of your feet. We're not stepping out super far, but if there was a line at the center of your mat, you just have one heel on the opposite side of each line, and that's going to help with balance. So this time with our legs straight, with that belly pulled in, you can even stretch those knuckles down towards the floor. We're just gonna forward hinge. Oh, wow, great stretch, especially with those hips squared of the hamstring of the front leg, of the calf of the back leg. On your next inhale, lift yourself up and then step your feet together. Bring those arms up overhead. Feet side by side. Ground your heels into the floor and sit your hips back into chair pose. Lift up that chest here in chair pose. Send those hips back. Take one more deep inhale. Lift yourself up. Pull your belly in and exhale. Rain your fingers down towards the floor. Inhale into a half lift. So find a flat back. Stretch your hips towards the back of the room. Head is in line with your spine. And then exhale. Forward fold down towards the floor. Option once again to grab hold of your elbows if you want. Maybe get a little rocking in. Coming back into bending one knee and then the other. Just finding a little bit more flexibility. Throw up the glutes and the hips. Nice, come into stillness for just a moment. Ground through both feet and slowly, gently roll yourself up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, bring arms up overhead. Thumbs towards the back of the room. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Keep those arms up. We're going to step that left foot back. Turn your foot to a 45-degree angle, and once again, just have some sort of a bend in your right knee. And then turn your hips towards the front of the mat. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. Just hanging out here in Warrior One for 2 more breaths. Keep that bend in your knee, keep some weight in that front heel. And then inhale, step that right foot in just a little bit. Keep that 45-degree angle. Separate your feet slightly. Your heels don't have to be invisible behind each other. Relax your arms down behind your back. And then a nice little chest opener right here. Stretch through those knuckles. Ooh, if you joined me yesterday, your shoulder complex might be tired. You're welcome. All right, we're just going to hinge forward right here. Keeping that belly pulled in. Keeping those legs straight. Find a spot to focus down on the floor in front of you. Awesome work. Take one more big inhale. Lift yourself up. Step those feet together. Arms come up overhead. Exhale, rain those fingers down towards the floor. Oof. Oh yeah, no, we're good. That's fine. Rain those fingers down towards the floor. Inhale into a half lift. Exhale into forward fold. Keep some weight in your heels. Bend your knees. Lift those arms up. Can you bring your biceps with your ears? Can you shift the weight back into your heels once more? Find a little bit more lift of that chest. Chair pose. Inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, find that forward fold. Or swan dive down towards the floor again. Inhale into your half lift. Find that length. Shoulders pull away from your ears and seat down your back. Exhale. Chin slightly tucks towards your chest to bring your nose a little closer to your knees. Nice work. All right, slowly, gently roll yourself up. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms come down by your side. We're gonna find one more big calf stretch. We're gonna use our block or book. If you don't have a block or book and you have a wall nearby, you can do this same stretch with the wall. Having a prop makes it a little bit easier. All right, let's start with that right leg. Just gonna take our right foot and put the ball of the right foot on your prop. Great. Then hinge forward. Maybe just hinging forward again, similar to what we've been doing just a moment ago. We'll bring that big stretch to your right leg. You might find that you need to press up onto the ball of the left foot. If balance is an issue and something is nearby, you can always put your hands on something. The more that you lean forward in this one, the bigger the stretch that you're gonna feel. So use that breath. Inhale in, you notice it. Exhale, releasing the tension. Just imagine creating space there. One more time. Inhale. Does it already feel more manageable? Exhale. Let it go. Bring the weight back into your left leg. Step off. Shake it out if you need to. Let's go ahead and just go right into the same thing on the opposite side. So the left ball of the foot comes up onto your prop or your book, or if you're using a weight or the wall, just pressing the ball of the foot onto the wall. Ugh. And then lifting up. You can come a little closer. Lifting up into your right foot. Something's feeling weird in this knee. That's what happens. The more that you move, the more that you notice things. Find that gentle forward hinge. Let's take 2 more breaths right here. Excellent work. Exhale, bring the weight back into your left leg. Go ahead, separate your feet a little bit like shoulders with distance apart. Go ahead, point those toes out of both feet this time to a 45-degree angle. And we're slowly gonna sink ourselves down to come into Malasana. You might find you need to use a prop on the floor to help yourself here. Maybe you have your hands on the floor and you can't quite bring the weight into your heels. If you can bring the weight into your heels, make sure you're also applying some pressure on the outsides of your feet. Notice if your feet are turned out more than 45 degrees and try to eliminate that joy. We will take 1 minute right here. If this is like murdering you, bring a prop under your bum. Carefully. Sit on your prop just to help support you in this giant stretch. I'm just going to stay on this prop because it's a little bit of a deeper stretch. It feels amazing. Applying some pressure of elbows into the thighs to help yourself stay lifted in that chest and balance. Focusing your eyes one spot on the floor in front of you. Amazing work. Take your last 2 breaths in Malasana. This is one of my favorite postures. Also one of the best postures to joke about during teacher training. Because you know, there's a lot of people who hang out like this all the time. Change. Bring your hands to the floor. Once again, send your hips up towards the ceiling. Bring the weight into your heels. Turn those toes forward. You can take a moment to just shake it out. You can even walk your hands a little bit forward. One more opportunity to get this big stretch on the back of our legs and our calves and our, I feel it in my quads, feel it in the hamstrings, the whole back of the leg. But you can have as generous of a bend of your knee as you need to, just working to bring a little bit more weight forward into your toes. Go ahead, keep your left hand down on the floor, and once again, inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling. Find one more twist. We got another twist coming up on the floor. What's happening with your hands? Bring all 5 fingers together, keeping that energy connected. Change. Right hand comes down to the floor, ground it. Inhale your left hand up. Shoulders away from ears, as flat of a back as you can enjoy. Take one more big inhale. Exhale. Release those hands to the floor. All right, we're going to come on back down to the floor. I'm going to confer with my notes. And we're going to start with the stretch that we did the other day. We did the same hip opening quad stretch. We're just a little bit more warmed up right now. We've got a couple twists in us. I do encourage you to keep a block nearby at the front of your mat to help you be supported in this one. Okay, go ahead and step your left leg forward. Once again, shifting that weight forward. The more that you shift your weight forward and the more that you start a little contraction of your glute, you're starting to get a little bit of a stretch, maybe already in your quad. If you're super tight. If you're not super tight, but you still need a stretch, we're going to take things a little bit further. Bringing hands down towards the floor. It's just going to intensify the stretch a little bit more, especially if you're really continuing to still find some activation in that glute. You can increase the stretch even more simply by tucking your toes under. That's one option. Oh, I'm doing some terrible rounding up that upper back. All right, so still make sure you're finding a little bit of a lift here. If you want to go even further, you're going to bend that back knee in. I'm going to use my prop to help lift myself up. I'm going to reach for that foot. Finding a little bit of a twist here, you're turning your chest towards your left thigh. And with your exhale, you're gently pressing those hips forward a little bit more. The more you press your hips forward, the more you're going to start to feel that stretch come down into your right quad. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, slowly, gently release. Untwist. Step yourself back. Let's take a quick little hamstring stretch here. So release your glutes towards your heels. I'm just going to sit all the way down for a sec. That was a lot. That was a lot of quad stretch. It kind of gave me a headache. Okay, let's come on forward once more. You can lift yourself up if you want to. We're gonna switch sides. Switch your block to the opposite side. We're gonna take a delightful little water break while we hang out here in this hip opener. This might already be the quad stretch. That's your quad stretch in your right leg. But if you find that you need a little bit more, tuck your toe under. See if that brings the activation that you need. If you're ready to go even further, bending that leg up and reaching back, so coming into a little bit of a twist right here. Just like we practice in that kind of like warm-up-ish sequence of just turning over that shoulder and looking towards your foot. I'm obviously way more open on this side. This is a lot more of a possibility for me on one side than the other. Super normal. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale, slowly, gently release. Go ahead, turn back towards the center. Let's go ahead, press back one more time into a hamstring optional calf stretch. All right, slowly, gently bring yourself forward. Bring your hands to the floor, bring that right leg in. Let's just take a moment in kneeling. All right, I'm gonna show you two more stretches. We're gonna end with the most intense stretch and then a little bit of a savasana. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and lay down on our backs. I don't even know what this one's called. I want you to prioritize your back staying on the floor for this one. So your belly is engaged. You're gonna take your left hand and place your left hand on top of your right shin. And then you're gonna reach with your right hand for the top of your left foot. And your right leg is gonna stay right here. Remember, we're prioritizing our lower back staying on the floor. So this might be as deep as you're coming into this quad stretch, but start to work to release your left leg to the floor. See if you can even bring that heel like right by your glute. Oh, remember, we're prioritizing lower back on the floor, but keeping this big bending your knee. So popular. All right, gently take your time. Go ahead and release. Let's come into the other side. So this time you're going to take your right hand. You're going to place your right hand on top of your left shin and then reach with your left hand to grab hold on top of the right ankle. Yeah, the right ankle. Said the right thing. Top of the foot. All right, slowly take your time and begin to release that leg down towards the floor. Remember, you're prioritizing your lower back staying on the floor. And then finding as much of a stretch, oh my gosh, by opening up that leg and pressing the outside of your right knee to the floor. And you want to make sure that you're feeling the stretch in the middle of the leg and the quad, that you're not feeling any sort of sharp pain in the knee. If so, just take it a step back. Let's go ahead and take 2 more breaths right here. Awesome. On your next exhale, bring it back in. Maybe take a moment, just gently rock side to side. And we're going to sit ourselves up. Great. Okay, one last stretch that we're going to do before final savasana. This is the one where we're going to use a wall. I don't really have an accessible wall, so I'm going to use the couch. You might find that you want to roll your mat up a little bit. So fold your mat up just to make sure that there's something a little softer underneath of your knee. Even using an actual pillow underneath of the knee that we're going to keep on the floor so that there's not too much pressure on the knee is a great option. If you don't have that near you and you just want to watch what's happening today, you can totally just watch what's happening. All right, we're going to keep one leg on the floor and we're going to walk the other knee back towards the wall. Ooh, wow. Coming back into that hip flexor stretch while in here is intensely intense. All right, so, oh my gosh, so here you might find that you can just only keep your hands on the floor. Huge stretch on the quad, but your goal is to eventually work your way towards being up right here. This is called the King Arthur stretch, right? Because we look so regal. Oh, and it's challenging. Go ahead, gently release yourself down. I'm going to apply some pressure into my hands to be able to bring the left foot back down towards the floor and then roll away from the couch or the wall or whatever it is that you're working with. I'm going to take a second to just shake it out. Give myself some little hip circles. Right? I told you we would do the most intense stretch last. All right. You know what? I think it might be easier this time around to bring the hip opening leg up first, and then you can kind of like sideways wiggle your way over to the wall, where it's like, oh my God, we're magicians. It's like you're breakdancing. Great, so getting that knee down towards the floor, working to get that shin flat against the wall. Wow. And then you can have your hands down on the floor. You can use those blocks so you can lift yourself up. This side's much easier. And you're King Arthur. I don't know if he had a handlebar mustache, but he did just now in my mind. Ooh, try to stay squared with those hips, everything forward for 3, 2, 1. You're amazing. Slowly, gently lower yourself down towards the floor. You can roll away from that wall. Great news, we've made it to final Savasana. Wow, just in time to really let it all soak in. So go ahead. Maybe you want to start your final Savasana with a little reclined bound angle, just an option to get one more hip flexor there, stretch in there. Or go ahead, extend your legs straight out in front of you. Just finding what feels good for you today. Do whatever feels right with your arms, maybe hands on your hips, maybe one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. But get as much of the back of your body in contact with the mat as possible. Take a nice little scan starting at the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And just ask yourself where you can relax a little bit more. Where's a space where you're still holding tension? Maybe there are none. You're welcome. But likely there are some, so just use those breaths to identify and let go. If you've been in reclined bound angle, you want to go ahead and extend those legs out for final Savasana, you're welcome to. Remember right here that all the words in one word. Then final Savasana is also a posture, so bring to it as much stillness as possible, that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So either finding that one spot to focus your eyes or closing them and just enjoying whatever you see on the back of your eyelids. But come into the most stillness that you can find. Simply enjoy the rise and the fall of your belly with your breath. Taking this time to let your practice sink in, to encourage a little bit more circulation and stimulation of the mind and the body, helping to break down the scar tissue and also just the negative thoughts that we have towards ourselves. Hasta la vista, baby. You're welcome to stay down here in this final Savasana for as long as continues to honor you. If you'd like to close out practice together, move slowly with some intention and find your way to a seated position.
When you get there, go ahead, bring your hands palms to the center of your chest with your thumbs touching on your sternum. And tuck your chin to your chest as you bow to yourself and honor yourself for making this physical and mental space for yourself today. For taking some time to be in the here and now so that you feel better in the later. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, I encourage you to please reach out. Make sure you drink lots of water to stay hydrated through the rest of the day. If you have any aches or pains, let me know. Let's write a class about it. In the meantime, think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds to nourish yourself from the inside out. Take a moment, bring your thumb up to your third eye, your drishti. Start to lift those elbows, your beautiful face up towards the ceiling, and know that the light within me sees and honors the light within you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.